that I'm preaching to the choir, but a piece of my soul will every time play my guitar. But you can't help the calls you get. Yeah, when life is dealing from the bottom of the dead. From the bottom of the dead. I'm now saying I had it and it wasn't you. It sure is the grass is green. The whole world is blue. No, I'm just another lost soul in a beautiful world where the people so damn go home. The calls you get, all you can do is just your best. Just as sad as the day my mama left. Well, I would deals from the bottom of the dead. From the bottom of the dead. Little boy, gonna cry, but I can't say goodbye. Just keep on dancing, lonely when I dream. Yeah, dream. Yeah, I want a bad girl. Honey, I'm not ashamed. March on, march on, march on. Hey, march on. You got the soldier on.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 9 of The Buzz with yours truly, Momma T. Tonight, we're going to be visiting with David Marlin from this great, awesome, cool little band I just discovered called the Hourglass Effect. They've been around for a while. So stay tuned after this brief message about Grand Forks Best Source, and we'll get right to the interview.
Today's episode is sponsored in part by Grand Forks Best Source. They're a cutting-edge local media broadcasting studio with captivating shows, on-location event coverage, and unparalleled advertising opportunities. Grand Forks Best Source has become a haven for podcasters like me seeking to bring their visions alive. If you're a podcaster looking for studio or platform, or a local business seeking to advertise, go ahead and email Paul at local@gfbestsource.com. You can call him at 701-740-9337 or or you can go to their website that's listed on your screen there, gfbestsource.com. Tell them Momma T sent you.
March on, march on, march on. Hey, march on. We got the soldier on.
Hi there, David. Thank you
Hello
so much.
there.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, just a little nervous.
Oh, don't be. I'm nervous every show.
It's funny, I can play in front of 10,000 people and I'm fine. And then this is like, oh no, jitters. But I'm gonna calm down in just a couple 3 seconds here.
Yes, you will. So tell me about yourself. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
I was born 2 blocks from the White House, DC Hospital for Women, many moons ago, and I grew up in the DC area. DC gets a bad rap for many reasons, but I'm so glad I grew up in that area. There was so much there to be had and be learned, so much to learn. And Smithsonian, all the the buildings, FBI, art buildings, Capitol, Washington Monument. And I was there. Most people in DC are coming and going, military or political stuff. But I spent my first pretty much 28 years. I was going back and forth to doing different things. I lived in Europe for a while, but for the most part, I was in the DC area the whole time.
So did you have a big family? Were they into music at all?
As I mentioned a little bit earlier when we were first connecting there, I'm a preacher's kid. So I grew up in an atmosphere where what I'm doing nowadays was considered probably one of the worst things you could be doing, rock and roll.
Secular music. Oh my Lord.
I've told many people because when I was about 12, I started I just picked up the guitar and I started talking I want to play in clubs and play rock and roll. And clubs where people hang out and drink beer and dance and then might hook up. Like that was like the worst thing possible. So I always tell people, I think my mom and dad would have been able to take it easier if I'd said I wanted to be a bank robber. It'd be like, oh, phew, he's not going to play in clubs and bars and things, or loud rock and roll music. So that was the atmosphere I grew up in. I had to borrow albums from friends who would drive me home. I would hide the albums in the bushes. And then when the coast was clear, I'd go out and get them. And then I would tape them. And then I'm giving away my age. And then, I'll return them. But I
like
lived.
they were dirty magazines or something.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. I never went that route, but yeah, those were my dirty magazines. Growing up, as early as I can remember, music just lit me up. And pretty much my whole life, I've been hell bent on doing music, in one form or the other, or with. Usually I would just grab whoever was around me and make something happen. So
what made you want to pick that guitar up when you were 12?
Because it was
what music were you listening to?
it was cool as hell. Okay, so my mom and dad went away and they put me in the care of I was 12 and they put me in the care of Gary Glahn, who was one of the guys in our church, and he had a cool what was it, a Nova car, like he had a stereo in the car. Anyway, so I'm hanging out with this 19-year-old, and I don't know why they trusted him, because he basically did all the things that you wouldn't want a babysitter, like let me listen to rock and roll, and then we did some little not shady things, but
Not approved.
That's for another day. But Gary Glahn turned me on to Uriah Heep, and I have been a Uriah Heep fan ever since. that album Demons and Wizards, which was the ultimate in rock and roll porn. I mean, can you imagine a preacher's kid having an album called Demons and Wizards? Uh, I still to this day listen to that, and I feel like I did when I was 12. So that was one of the first bands. I mean, I've always I have listened to everything under the sun. I've listened to reggae. I've listened to punk. I've listened to classical music. I had a friend who would travel and he'd go buy Turkish records in Turkey. He'd go to China and buy Chinese records, and he'd come back and he'd be like, okay, these records, this is the music they used to play in the opium dens. And, you know, this was like the classical music of that day. And so anyways, I was exposed to Indian music, you know, Ravi Shankar, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I've just always gorged on music. You know, if it's got that X factor, I'm going to dig it. I don't care if it's polka music. I'm going to dig it. Like if it's done well, disco, like it's like, wow, listen to what they're doing there. So that's, I've just always been it's like a pie eating contest of music.
So how would you describe your sound, and how did all those musical influences give you that sound?
People always ask me, well, what's like the thing you do the most? And I always say, I love loud guitars with great melodies. I'm a huge Beatles fan, but back when the Smithereens came around, they were, you know, a loud band with great melodies. I love that kind of sound, but you know, I teach music, and I have a wax of girls that come through here that are Taylor Swift fans. I'm a Taylor Swift. I've gotten a bit tired of her. I think she's taken up too much of the air in the room, but I appreciate that. She's got some really, one of my favorite Taylor Swift songs is August off her Evermore Folklore album. I think it's just a magnificent song. But yeah, I'm so curious. I want to know I love all the old stuff, but I want to know what's new. You know, like I listen to Billie Eilish and Harry Styles and Olivia Rodrigo, because I have a lot of kids coming in and they're like, hey, I want to learn this. And I go, wow, that's a great song. Jeez. So did I answer the question? I think I went off on a tangent. So.
I think the question was, how did you let all those different sides make sound?
They roll around in my head, and I mean, my job as in the Hourglass Effect, I'm the producer, but I also play most of the instruments.
Right.
And I'm constantly, like, I had a guy say to me a long time ago, if your producer does not have an immaculate music collection, she is not the person for you. And that's right. Exactly what I have, this massive collection. And when I'm going at anything, I really love, like if I'm doing something like a Joni Mitchell type thing, I might steal something from Mahavishnu Orchestra or Yes, or Susie and the Banshees. You know, I just like, the sounds are constantly rolling around in my head, and there's just so many ideas that you can cull things from. So that's just, as I soaked up everything, it just started coming out, not only in my songwriting, but in how I've produced other artists.
Yes, that's how you answered the question. How long have you said you're a music teacher? How did you get into that? How long have you been doing that? Where do you do that at?
When I was living in Sweden, I was actually a youth pastor, believe it or not. I was in a place called Trollhättan, and I was in charge of the youth group. And one way I got all the kids together is we had this little music group, and we got together like one night a week, and we would just sing and play guitars. And then I actually, at one point, I was like, we got to do something where it's not just, we're just in this little, you know, the four walls here. I said, you know what? We need to go, the city of Gothenburg in Swedish is called Göteborg. It's on the west coast, across from Stockholm. it's about an hour away. Oh, by the way, Trollhättan is where they make Saab cars. It's like the little bit of the Detroit of Sweden.
Oh, no,
And
no. My uncle owned a Saab. I know exactly what a
oh,
Saab.
okay. Well, I lived where his car was built. Anyways, I said to the kids, I said, hey, we should go down to Gothenburg and play on the street. We're going to learn 10 songs and we're all going to play and sing, put our hat out. And when we're done, we'll divide up the money. You know, it'll just be a fun little, I've always been big on my students, not just sitting at home and playing, but like getting out in public. So even now when I do gigs, I take students with me and they'll do 5 songs, 10 songs, 15 songs. But I started teaching a couple of the kids, and then somebody else was like, hey, could you teach me too? So I had a handful, and I was just teaching for free. Since I was a youth pastor, I was like, well, this is just part of what I do as a youth pastor. And then I met my wife in Sweden. She's Canadian, moved to Canada, and I had this horrible job driving a cube van all over Ontario. I'm American, my wife's Canadian. And I started teaching a couple people there. And finally one guy was like, you know what, you should really charge. And then it went from shitty, sorry, excuse my French there. It went from a job I hated to I started teaching and making, good money. So teaching is a lot of fun, and you can do well,
I think that whole thing, I don't know where the phrase came from, those who can't teach. I think that's bullcrap, because you can't teach.
I used that phrase today with somebody because I was talking to them about there's a tendency in the States that, oh, well, if I can't go into the business world, I'll teach, or whatever. I'm not putting, some people really, really love to teach and they know their subject. In Finland, they take the people who are the best and they pay them well. Those that would normally go into, other sectors and make a lot of money, they pay them well because they want their kids taught by the absolute best. But that whole thing of, if you can't do it, teach, that applies to some. But my students get my heart and soul. So, and
how long have you been doing?
I can talk to them about, like, I've actually done so many of those things you dream about doing, recording, playing live, writing songs. So go ahead. Sorry.
How long have you been teaching?
I started in Sweden in, 89 or 90, I guess. And then I've been doing it basically ever since. Now we moved, I'm in Charlotte now. So when we moved here, we were in Canada, then we moved to Nashville. I was in Nashville. We were in Nashville for 5 years. Found out that my son had autism and Nashville wasn't the best place for him at that time. So we moved to Charlotte, and but every time you move someplace, you got to start from, it's not like, you just go down and you get a job to teach. It's because I usually teach in my home, and I have control of it.
Yes. Plus you get more money that way. But I think that's one of the biggest problems with the school system in the United States, though. Just the teachers are not paid enough.
No, not at all.
You're going to make more money being a private tutor than you are going to a school and being a music teacher or a sub teacher or whatever.
I mentioned about Finland. In Canada, teachers are paid really well, and unfortunately, if you're paid well, people respect you more. So in Canada and obviously Finland, teachers are like, that's like, wow, you're a teacher, as opposed to, oh, okay, you're a teacher. That's kind of how we all treat it on the outside to hear, oh, okay, you're a teacher. So, which is sad.
How does that, so both in Finland and in Canada, they're paid, teachers are paid better?
Oh, way better. Yeah.
That just, and
not just better, but way better.
That just blows my mind, because that's like I said, that's one of the things I've always thought was the a major problem with the school systems. Like you go to public school, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go to public school, the public teachers are not paid well enough. And you see all these teachers, they're struggling and they're buying things with their own money to bring in so that the kids have school supplies, or that now they're sending out these every year with my kids. I remember the school supply list got bigger and bigger and bigger. And like, what are my taxes going for?
Mm-hmm.
It's not to pay the teacher. It's not for school supplies. I mean,
I also know about the school system from the inside because I was a preschool teacher for a while. I needed a job that would follow my son's curriculum. You know, I would be off on the days he was off. So I was a preschool teacher for special needs kids. And I saw, I mean, teachers, I mean, literally slaving away on so many levels. And yes, all the, you know, they were spending hundreds of dollars on just so the kids would have it. It's
what they needed to learn.
Sad scenario, but that's unfortunately that's how it functions here.
Well, we do have to take a quick break. And we are going to hear from Global Cleaning and Soul Kitchen in Grand Forks, North Dakota. And then when we get back, we're going to talk about how you and Drew and Aaron got together.
The teaching will lead into that.
Time is a precious commodity, and when it comes to dedicating time for the best professional cleaning, whether it be for your home or business, look no further than Global Cleaning Services. They will make your home or business perfectly pristine, whether it comes down to routine cleaning, prepping for a move, post-construction cleanup, or post-event tidying up. Global Cleaning Services offers weekly, bi-weekly, and monthly scheduled services. Contact them today for a free quote at 612-270-6614 or by email globalcleaningservices51@gmail.com. For whatever your commercial or residential cleaning needs, Global Cleaning Services will have you covered.
Come and get a taste of Korea at Grand Forks' newest dining sensation, Soul Kitchen in the Grand Cities Mall. Dine in or take out handcrafted dishes featuring astonishing and unique flavors with just the right levels of spiciness to suit all tastes. At Soul Kitchen, each meal is custom made to your order by superb soul-trained chefs. Open for dinner Tuesday through Friday from 4:30 to 8, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., and Sundays 11 to 6, and closed Mondays. Discover what's been missing from your dining adventures with consistent 5-star reviews from satisfied customers. Soul Kitchen, right across from Rumors Sports Bar and Grill in the Grand Cities Mall. Stop in and discover the best-kept dining secret in Grand Forks.
March on, march on, march on. Hey, march on. We got the soldier on.
Oh, wow. I completely forgot. So all of those.
Who was that guy?
So we are on audio podcasts as well. So our ads play and then we get this other stuff. And then, so for anybody who was not actually visually watching, I just learned about this right before the show started and kind of spaced out that this is where we were putting that. Can you tell me about, I saw that guy walking with his with his guitar and playing, and I heard a whole lot of background music. Can you tell me who was doing the background music and about this clip a little bit?
Okay, I got a couple of things to tell you about this particular. That was a video shoot. It was a. They needed some footage of me doing a solo because that's me doing a solo, and most of what you hear, yeah, everything you heard on that except the drums is me. And actually the guitar part that you heard that was inspired by Brian May because he used to do these guitar orchestra things. So that's what I did. So I'm walking, just for those who are listening, I'm playing the guitar. I'm playing in 1972 Gibson SG for those of you who are guitar aficionados. Not mine. Somebody let me borrow it. Anyway, the guy who was doing the video shoot let me borrow it. But so they had taken some. They're going to insert that into one of our videos, a song called "Dream with Me," coming out on our new album called "Inner Ocean." So they had done some stationary stuff with me, and I said, "Why don't we do a shot where I'm walking towards the camera?" And he's like, "Okay, well, you just come towards the camera." I'm like, "No, I'll come towards the camera, and the camera's going to move back." So while I'm doing that segment, there are cars down there that they're about to run it because they're walking backwards, and Jason, the guy who kind of in charge of things, not kind of, he's in charge of things. He had a little, Bluetooth thing. So that's what you're hearing is just that on the actual, so it's not the actual thing, that's going to come out on the album. That'll be far richer and, boomier. But a funny story prior to, so we're in a parking garage and I'm going down the slope. That's what that is. I'm playing my guitar, going down the slope, going towards the camera. He's backing up. And then I'm trying to time it. So, time my pace so we don't run into the cars. So prior to that, they had picked out another parking garage, and I'm like, so we take all our, I'm in one car, they're in another, and they have all the camera equipment, and we go up to like the 4th floor, and we put, so there's, okay, I'm looking at this thing, and it's like, it's like it's twisted around. I don't know. When I do this hand, it's coming up on the left.
Yeah,
so
me too.
I'm not going to look at it. So we pull in, and there is a van and a car, and then Jason pulls in here with his camera guy, and I pull in right next to them. And Jason rolls down the window and goes, "Hey, we're going to park down there because that's where we're going to shoot." And they had all this camera equipment. So as soon as he pulls out, there's this girl sitting in the car to my left, and she's looking at me with this "what are you doing here" look, like she's pissed off. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then I see right behind her by the van, this dude has a Glock. He's pointing it at this other guy. And I'm like, what is going on? Holy crap, is something going down?
Oh my Lord.
I was already out of the car. I got back in the car. I'm like, are they just messing around? Or is there a deal going down, or somebody's mad? I mean, he literally had it like 2 feet from his head. And I'm like,
where was this? What town was this?
This is in I'm a good advertisement for Rock Hill, South Carolina.
Okay, anyway.
So I get in the car, I pull out slowly. It's like, I don't need to have any attention. So I go down, and it's a little ways down, but there's still, these people are right over here. And I walk over to Jason. I go, "That guy's got a gun." He goes, "He does." I'm like, "Yeah." I'm thinking, how can you not see it? Like, he just had it out. He says, "Should we leave?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's get out of here."
Do you want to get shot?
So we left, and then we went to another parking garage because they're all from down there. We went to another parking garage, and it wasn't right. And then we went to that one that is in the shot, and that was even better than where we were going to be. But that was, all of a sudden it was like I have been transported to Mars. There's a guy pointing a gun at it, and again, I didn't know. They were young. They were probably, I don't know, 19, 20, 21. I didn't know what, and I wasn't going to stick around to find out.
Oh.
Anyways, doing rock and roll can be a little strange and dangerous.
That was
so. To answer your question about how we met, speaking of my students.
Oh, yeah. The teaching led to your connection with Drew and Aaron.
So,
We
Aaron,
might have to tell the audience who Drew and Aaron are first.
okay. Well, I'll get to that. So Aaron, I met Aaron. I have a special needs son. I think I've mentioned that before. We had met, Aaron and I. I ran the house band for the special needs group, and Aaron started coming with her soon-to-be husband, and that's where we met. And then Aaron became one of my students. I was teaching her guitar, and this whole story that I'm telling is depicted in one of our videos called "Put Your Arms Around Me." Great song. Drew wrote an amazing song, and it's just, it's just good. And the video is beautiful. Has our friend Victoria, she's dancing in it, and it's just beautiful. Anyways, it also features me playing at the same time. The miracle of video tricks. I'm playing a cello, a French horn, a 12-string guitar, and a bass.
And you do actually play all of those things.
I play all. Well, I don't play French horn. I can make the computer sound like it's a French horn, but you still have to arrange it. You have to make it sound like what a French horn part would be. So, anyways, that's what that video is. But I wanted in the video to depict how we all met. So I'm waiting for Aaron, and Aaron, she's gotten better, but she tends to be late to things. And I'm waiting for Aaron, and Aaron's down at her car, and she's got 2 guitars, and she's kind of struggling with them. And Drew's coming across the parking lot because he's going to get a haircut at Super Clips or something. And he sees her struggling, and he's like, "Oh, I play, a guitar player. Wow, these are my people." So he goes over to ask her, "Hey, do you need any help?" And she's like, "Oh, yeah, that'd be great. Can you help me?" So Drew comes up with her, comes through the door, and I'm like, "Oh, there's a dude." And just so you know, Drew to this day in my phone, he's still listed as Drew (parentheses) man in the parking lot. So
why would you change it?
Why would you change it? So he comes in, and we kind of talk for a second, and I'm like, she sings really, really well. And he's like, "Well, I've written, I play guitar, and I've written some songs. I have this one song that I'm writing." He says, I played something that she sang, and he was like, "Wow." And then he was like, "I've written this song. Do you want to hear it?" And I was like, "Yeah, but not right now. I got to teach her. She's late." And and then I got another student after that. So he went out the door. Long story short, they did a little bit together, and then I called Drew because I was like, "Where's Drew?" And they had kind of, it hadn't like quite panned out because they were going to write together. So I called up Drew, and I said, "Hey, you were talking about, this song," and he's like, "I'd really like to record it." And I'm like, "Well, great, let's get together." And before you knew it, okay, so he wanted to record one song. I said, "It would be really good if we had 3. So I like this song a lot. It was called "Man on the Moon." I like this song a lot. Let's go write 2 more. Let's have 3. So he wrote two more. And what he would do is he would write the song. He'd send me the lyrics. I'd do them in my Dave Hardman chart form. Then he would come over here. He'd play the song for me. I'd write the chords in because Drew doesn't always, know what things are called and whatnot. And so then we would make a chart, and then I would fix it up on the computer, send him to Staples to get the copy, and then we would start demoing the song. So he got 3 done. I said, 5's even better than 3. And so he wrote 2 more. And then I said, 7's better than.
So you know how to inspire people.
So,
that's a good word for it, right?
Yeah, it helps if you threaten them a little bit. No, I'm just kidding. And then I said, "Well, what the heck? You're on a roll. Let's go for 10." And that's how the first album happened.
What was the name of that first album?
It's just self-titled, The Hourglass Effect. This is where I can plug.
Is that where Sunlight came from, or is Sunlight from the second album?
That's going to be coming on the second album. This is our vinyl. If anybody's in Charlotte and wants a vinyl copy, come by.
But anyways, you should tell me the
Yeah,
tracks on
but
that.
anyways is on this one. But what you
That was yeah. But anyways, you should tell me what tracks are on that. Yeah, I was trying to make it funny.
Yeah, it was good. Sorry, I'm a little slow on the uptake there. Oh, and by
That's
the
all
way,
right. I think we were born in the same decade. That's all right.
here's the other thing too. If you don't want to,
You got merch?
yeah.
Oh,
Come get my info. Come by the studio. It's yours for free.
oh
This
yes.
this is our old one, and we just got this new one made. So
Oh, that's awesome. So how did you guys come up with the name of the Hourglass Effect?
that's Drew. He came up with that.
So he just writes everything, huh?
Drew writes everything. I sometimes tweak things. Maybe like, well, the solo chords should maybe go here, or, maybe we change key, or, I add but at its core, they are totally Drew's songs. He is an amazing songwriter, and part of the amazing part about his songwriting, the thing that really helps him is he doesn't know how it's supposed to be, which is a disease of we who are a little bit more schooled and play and do gigs and teach and all that stuff. He will just go quirky directions that are like, okay, that's real. I would have never thought of that. That's really, really cool.
Out of the box guy.
Say what?
He's an out of the box guy.
Totally out of the box. Totally out of the box.
That's good though. He's creative.
Very creative. So he writes the songs. I put the clothes on the songs, and then Aaron sings the songs, and that's how that works. And
it is. You guys make such beautiful music together, like for real. You guys. Okay, we are at the end of the show. We are closing out the show with a segment from a clip of The Highway, I believe.
Yeah, it's called The Highway.
How about, do you have your guitar handy by any chance?
I do. It's right here.
We've got about 4 minutes, 3.5 minutes until our next ad break. Did you want to, you got anything you have prepared to play live?
Okay. The one thing that I have, because I don't do, like, Aaron sings a song. She's not here. The only thing that I had prepared is which I told you about in our texting. I have a song. It's called Come Closer. I made a record in Toronto. I raised $25,000, got a producer, made an album, and through a series of events, I have a one song called Come Closer. It ended up on the radio in the Buffalo, Toronto area.
Yes.
And I would be standing in the bank, and it would be, they played it for 3 months. I was a nobody. They played it for 3 months on medium rotation, which back in that day was huge. So you'd hear Santana, Elton John, me, Tom Petty. I mean, these are all million sellers, and then little Dave Hardman, who's maybe sold 125, CDs. But I'd be in the bank, I'd be at the dentist office, I'd be at my house, I'd be in the car, and people, see me, wherever, and be like, "Hey, we heard your song the other day." So that was a thrill. But anyways, this is, if you want me to do that.
Would you be willing to play that song for us now?
Gladly. And I have, don't forget the lyrics chart here. It's my song, but I have a hard time with lyrics. I can remember chords, but not lyrics. So this is to ensure that I don't.
I'm the same way.
Butcher my own. Are we gonna have enough time? Like it's.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? If you go past the ad break, we're good. We'll be fine.
This is called Come Closer. I started writing this song with 3 chords and "Baby Come Closer" and 6 words. I just kept playing the chorus over and over again. That's all I had. And then 6 months later, I was like, you know what? That's a really cool chorus. I need verses.
You got a hook.
That's where the real work started, because the chorus came out of the blue. Anyways, I was sitting at my kitchen table in Sweden and was just playing, and this came out, the beginning of it, and then I made the rest of it. sun goes down, colors fall on a western sky. Sit here by me, I will sing you my love lullaby. I'm at your feet, my guitar and a simple song. I have a wish, one you and I can carry on and on and on. Baby, come closer to my heart. 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 This heart of yours brought me here, I'm now called home. So here I stand in a place I've never known. To have and hold a love so fine yet still concealed. But in another place, another time to be revealed. Baby, come closer to my heart. Baby, come closer to my heart. Baby, come closer to my heart. Baby, come closer and closer and closer and closer to my heart. So all my days, patient steps I'll carry on. And with all my love at your feet, I'll sing this song. Baby, come closer to my heart. Baby, come closer to my heart. Baby, come closer to my heart. Baby, come closer to my heart.
You know, I freaking love it. It makes me want to sing along, and it actually sounds a little familiar, but I did grow up 10 miles south of the Canadian border, so I probably heard it.
You
We
might have.
do have to take a quick break to hear
Okay.
from the Santa Claus Girls and the other podcast I'm on called Renegade Radio.
You know, we all know someone, and now more than ever, there are families that need help this holiday season. So the Santa Claus Girls are asking for your help putting smiles on the faces of over 1,600 kids and low-income families in Grand Forks, East Grand Forks, and now serving the Grand Forks Air Force Base. The Santa Claus Girls are celebrating 108 years of service, and every boy and girl will receive toys, food, books, clothes, and socks to keep them happy and warm this winter. They have a goal of reaching $60,000, but for only $35, you can make this Christmas merry for a child and their family. Go to SantaClausGirls.com to donate, and thank you.
You don't get this stuff from Howard Stern Show. You don't get this stuff from anything but Renegade Radio.
Wow. Like I said, I grew up 10 miles south of the Canadian border, and that song, it did really sound familiar. And when I grew up in Roseau, there was like late 80s, early 90s. I'm guessing that maybe.
That song came out in 95, 96, thereabouts.
Yeah. So we only have a few minutes. This hour has gone past like so
It has.
fast.
Thank you. Thank you for
You
having me here. Thank you for it's
no, I mean we've got like 15 minutes left. Well,
sometimes when you talk to people, it's like, okay, when's this going to end? This has been
this
fun.
is an actual conversation. I feel like this is an actual conversation. It's not, and I don't feel like I'm going to get everything out of you that I feel like we're going to end this interview and there's going to be so many more questions that I wanted to ask you. So you were the teacher, and you're working with a guy who writes your songs and a girl who sings them.
Yep.
How does that dynamic work? How does that happen?
It works really well because everybody it's not like, Aaron's like, oh, I want to play that guitar part, or Drew, actually I try to encourage Drew to play on the record. He's not always thrilled with his voice or his guitar playing. So, and he has sung, actually the Highway, he sings that one. That's,
oh, does he?
Yes, he's singing that one. That one features, Drew, has kind of a cowboy theme. Just so you know, when you all play that was the first rough cut that came out. And
wait, was that the spaghetti western one, or what?
No, that one's called Man on the Moon. That was the first song.
Man on the Moon, yeah.
Yeah, we worked on, but the one coming out is the Highway. Okay. And that was more of a cowboy town thing. The sheriff, Clint Eastwood. It was basically the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's what we were trying to replicate. Saloon and everything. This is more of Drew is out. He's just a lone cowboy. He's just a loner, and he ends up he's got a fire there, and he's drinking a little bit, and he's smoking something, and he kind of has that peyote moment, and then. And I have to take credit. We were going to actually try to do kind of an Indian thing, but
you mean Native American, right?
Native Americans. But we contacted, Drew did, and they were like, "Well, no, we don't just do that. That's our worship time." So it was like, I said, "Drew, why don't we just have girls dancing around the fire?" And he's like, sounds way better than me. So that's what I
don't think I saw that video. Are they in skimpies? Tell me they're in skimpies.
Yeah, they're in kind of like 90 type things.
That's awesome. Everybody's going to check that video. Yeah. Okay, now that you say that, everybody's going to want to watch this video. Yeah. What's the name of the video, and where do they find it?
Well, right now, okay, we're literally minutes away from it, because
that's the one we're playing?
Yeah, that's the one I sent. And
okay. And that's the Highway.
That's a rough cut. What you're eventually going to hear is the song finely mixed, and it has a way more a rock and gritty feel to it. And then the video there's different. It has been tightened up. So I wanted you to see. This is once we first we film it. And we rented a ranch. We say Drew took care of all that. Rented a ranch. rented a horse, and we were there all. I think we got there at 10 a.m. It was out in the middle of nowhere. It was like an hour and a half, 2 hours from here, and we were there all the way till way past midnight because we had to do the fire scenes with the girls. So, and it was freezing when the girls were away from the fire. They were freezing. When they were by the fire, they were burning up. So
this whole Native American thing, I don't know where that came from, but tell me about your heritage and how that affected who you have become, and how that may have influenced your music at all.
My grandmother always told me, but I think everybody's grandmother tells them, "Oh, we have Indian heritage," and I don't think that's right.
If you are no. I do believe that, just because if you are any other, if your blood comes from any other country and your ancestors came here, what are the chances that they didn't copulate with someone who already lived here?
Mingle with, yeah. I mean, it's not
the people who lived here. I'm not gonna say it because that blood's in me, but the people who lived here originally were very beautiful people.
Oh, heck yeah. Oh, I love that culture. There's so much about that I love.
You don't have to have the Indian cheek. You don't have to have the Indian cheekbone, or the Indian princess cheekbones, or the native nose, or the long hair, or the dark skin. The blood can be in you. You feel that beat. You are standing on the Mother Earth, and you feel that beat going through you. That blood's in you.
I'm pretty sure that most of my background is like German. The name Hardman, that's actually my last name, Hardman. Hartmann, or however it originally was. But German, English, that's never been like, it was never embraced in our family. I was a preacher's kid. It was Jesus, the Bible, and but probably more so, as I said earlier, my real influences are, I have to say this. My mom was a monster piano and organ player. She was the classic preacher's wife who played the piano and the organ. But my mom wasn't just she played some piano and some organ. She was badass. She was really badass. She was an amazing musician. My brother, another over the top amazing musician. My dad sang. My mom and dad actually made an album back in 1967. It was a church.
I was trying to ask you this at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, they made an album. My mom would play, and my dad would sing. My dad was really great in front of crowds. My mom was very shy and didn't want to be in the limelight. I was the so-called black sheep of the family. Music came to me very slow. I had to I started to put things together later that I am a slow learner. But when I learn it, okay. For most people, it takes once or twice. For me, I need 37. Go around the mulberry bush, and then when I get it, I really, really get it. And the thing about me is, I didn't have great rhythm. I didn't have great musicianship. My brother was off the charts, and it was so frustrating because it was like, I want to do that and I can't do that. But the thing about me, and kids, if you're listening, I'm a tenacious bugger, and I just wanted to do it so bad that I just kept at it. And I didn't let anybody stop me or tell me, people would tell me in one form or the other, well, you know what, you kind of suck. It's like, I just love this so much. And part of me too was like, what else am I going to do? There's nothing that really lights. I mean, that's what I got to do. So
you're like the Tenacious D of the rock school kind of thing. So being a teacher, what do you think the biggest challenge is as far as getting the young people into the music industry?
Uh, Nowadays, everybody is enamored with the shortcuts.
The
If
AI.
or just like, I mean, American Idol and whatever the other, they kind of ushered in this thing of, if I just get on that show and I just sing pretty, and they like me, and then I get enough votes, that's it. I've made it. And so much about being a musician is cutting your teeth, playing those horrible gigs where you have to make it work. And, the sound's not so great, but you got to make it sound great. You got to lug equipment around, you got to pay. There's really something to be said about paying your dues.
There's no money in it at first. I think
No.
that's what maybe some kids maybe are thinking, oh, I want to be a musician because I love it. And look at all these famous musicians. They're making so much money.
And I have to say this, all credit to my wife. I was driving that cube van. I hated it. She says, you know what? You just need to do music full time. And I'm like, do you know what that means? Like, we're not only not going to make money, we're going to be spending money because I'm going to have to get this, get that. And she said, well, you're just going to be miserable unless you do this. So just go ahead and you got to.
I love her. I love her.
Just so most people get married and have a baby and music stops. It was the opposite for me. I got married and had a baby, and I'm like, I was like 33 when I really started to do music as a real profession, like playing bands, get hired, all that. So she was the one who gave me the go ahead. Yeah.
So awesome. So 3.5 years ago, I try not to tell this story because it kind of brings tears to my eyes. 3.5 years ago, I left a 20-year relationship, and I needed to be with somebody who I knew, somebody I loved, like my friends, and I ended up coming out to McIntosh, Minnesota to see a friend of mine who I'd known for 30 years. He happened to be a blues musician by the name of Little Bobby. I had known him.
Familiar with him. You have made me familiar with him.
I had known him for 30 years, and we were friends, and I came out to see him, and I never laughed. But yeah. I don't remember what my point was. That's why I hate talking about it, because I get caught up in the story. But he is one of the reasons I do this so much, because I felt so suppressed for so many years, and all I could do was put my headphones on and listen to my music and sing along if I could when I was feeling sad. And even then, I didn't feel like I could do that. And I just felt so freed, and I felt so good. I could feel good about myself. I could love again. And music makes you feel. If music can make you feel.
Yeah, music is magic.
And then no matter what language it is, it's still feeling.
It is total magic. And I have to say this, I know you want kids to, really grab music and make it their own. I have to say this.
The best therapy.
And I might tear up myself. I've been able to do all kinds of musical things, song on the radio, playing bands, play in front of crowds, and then the Hourglass Effect came. I meet Drew. I know Aaron. We meet Drew. Drew starts this. He feeds us songs. And then this thing has just been. I mean, we just passed not too long ago 10 million views on our YouTube channel for all our videos, and we got a whole new slew coming out. Sunlight was our first single from the next album. We just went and stuck that out there. But
it's awesome.
I have to say this: the best musical times I've had was at the bedside of somebody who was going to pass away or sick. And also when I was a preschool teacher, I would go to the kindergarten classes on Fridays and I would sing Head, Shoulders, Knees, and Toes, Itsy Bitsy Spider. And when you have 25 kindergartners going nuts because you're playing a guitar and singing a song, they absolutely, when you do Head, Shoulders, Knees, and Toes, you might as well be, that's their version of Stairway to Heaven. Oh my gosh, he's doing that one. Music is not, everybody has in their head, play on a stage, I'm a rock star, lights on me. But music really needs to be one-on-one or one on just a handful, and in places where we live and breathe, and especially places where there are children and where people are in serious need of a light inside. I have a student, his name's John, and one day I said to him, John, his dad wasn't doing well. I said, John, I offer a lot of people this, but most people never take me up on it because they think it's going to be awkward or whatever. But I said, I would love to go play for your dad at the hospital. He was like, you'd really do that? I'm like, heck yeah. I'm a preacher's kid. I've been around all kinds of things. Nothing is going to shock me. And if I show up with a guitar and it's not time to play, it's an awkward time. He's not feeling well at all. He doesn't want people around. Great. I'll pay my respects, say hi, how you doing? Good to meet you. And then I'll just get out of there. Well, I sang for his dad and he said, I'm not going to be able to be there. Can you ask one of the nurses to videotape it? So I sang Leaving on a Jet Plane for his dad, and his dad started singing along, and the nurse took the video. And that is, for John, and for me, that's one of the most precious possessions he has. He just, every once in a while he'll send it to me and go, man, I can't, you did that for my dad. You did that for me. So you can be a hot shot and have everybody applaud, hey, you're shredding and wow, what a great voice you have. But at some level, music is meant to be shared one-on-one or one on a handful. It doesn't always have to be the big stage. And that's where music becomes more real than in so many other situations. So music, yeah, it is. I've seen it. I've seen it take people to places that it's taken me to all kinds of places I never would have been otherwise.
Dave, you know what? I got to tell you, this is one of the best interviews I've had with any guest for a long time. Music, for real, music needs to be the new therapy. Stop paying doctors all this. You're not even paying the doctors. You're paying the hospitals. The doctors aren't paid enough, just like the teachers. But I don't have time for your schedule right now because I want to have time for your video. So your website is hourglass-effect.com, and people can find your touring schedule on there. You guys play live, right?
Yeah, we'll just say there's no touring schedule right now.
Okay, no touring schedule right now.
Well, we have great videos.
Well, thanks so much for being my guest tonight, Dave. And thanks to all the listeners and viewers out there. And for more of the buzz with Momma T, go to www.littlebobbybuzz.com or to www.gfbestsource. Or if you want to go on Facebook, the Little Bobby Buzz. Keep supporting these musicians so we can keep the live music alive. And we'll see you next week. We'll lead out with the highway.
of God knows everything. Mountains sing a sweet song on the highway for reasons you say you're wrong. On the highway, I feel at home. Underneath the stars, I walk alone. The summer rain, sky full of pain. On the highway, no one knows my name. I have no feeling or place to go. Follow the horizon down to Mexico. I wonder, will the highway ever change? I wonder, will the highway ever change? On the highway, the desert knows that I am empty to my bones. Only dreams can save my soul. On the highway, for reasons I can't control. I have no feeling or place to go. Follow the horizon down to Mexico. I wonder, will the highway ever change? I wonder, will the highway ever change?
Today's episode is sponsored in part by Grand Forks Best Source. They're a cutting-edge local media broadcasting studio with captivating shows, on-location event coverage, and unparalleled advertising opportunities. Grand Forks Best Source has become a haven for podcasters like me seeking to bring their visions alive. If you're a podcaster looking for studio or platform, or a local business seeking to advertise, go ahead and email Paul at local@gfbestsource.com. You can call him at 701-740-9337, or you can go to their website that's listed on your screen there, gfbestsource.com. Tell them Momma T sent you.
Yeah, I want a bad girl.